Hey friends, welcome. Joseph here, and just excited to be with you here for episode 2 of Fellow Wanderers. And I hope you enjoy my interview today with Cindy Mundt, my friend from down in the Quad Cities, from Davenport, Iowa. And it's just a fun time with her, and I think you'll enjoy it too. As she's somebody that necessarily doesn't like to wander too much or too far, and so if you're that type of person, I think you will definitely grab onto what we have going on here in this interview. So thanks for joining us. Again, if you need anything for as far as travel needs, get a hold of us at smalltownwanderer.com, and we'd love to help you. But in the meantime, enjoy this time with Cindy.
Being weird. All right. So, hey, fellow wanderers, welcome to our episode 2 of Fellow Wanderers, and a podcast, a video blog, however you want to listen to it or watch it. So, based on that, is what you'll call this. But this is episode 2, and the beauty of episode 2, and I have my friend Cindy Mundt from the Quad Cities, which we'll talk about what the Quad Cities is in just a second.
Yes.
But she's from there. But Cindy, I don't know if you know it, but this episode is our second episode, and it finally has a name. So episode 1 was just called episode 1. Now I'm calling this thing Fellow Wanderers, because I just
Okay.
want people to interact with and get to meet just people all over the world, hopefully.
That's so good.
Talking about small towns, talking about your favorite cities, talking about your favorite stuff to do as you get out and about and explore. So we have Cindy Mundt on our call right now, and Cindy is my good friend from the Quad Cities, which we'll get to the Quad Cities in a second.
Okay.
And why it's called the Quad Cities and not the Ocho Cities or something like that, which is
Right.
probably more appropriate. Yeah. So Cindy is my friend from down there, and really all you need to know about Cindy is she is the best encourager in the whole world, and I swear her fingers are on like auto robo for liking anything you do on Instagram or Facebook. So
I am
Cindy,
kind of attached to this.
Cindy, before we even get to know who you are, please tell everybody that's out there, all of our wanderers, are you a robot or not?
I am not a robot.
Okay, so then
No.
what do you do to like get the fingers working? How do you limber them up in the morning to, I would assume, put like at least, you're probably down at least 500 or 600 likes a day. How do you do that?
Okay, so I am on social media a lot. So Instagram, Facebook. I don't get on Twitter as much, but I do like to know what other people are doing, and even famous people. I even like their stuff, and sometimes they respond back to me, which makes me
Whoa.
really happy. But my little thumb that double clicks it and gives it a heart is my way of saying good job, encouragement. If I can't talk to them, it's just my way of saying
It's thumbs
good job.
up.
Yeah.
Does your husband or your family members, I see you're in quarantine with your daughter and her husband and your
Yeah.
your granddog. Does your
Yes.
granddog ever feel as if she's not getting the attention she needs because you're on your phone?
No, because everybody else is on their phone too. Except the dog.
Yeah, I was gonna
She's
say,
one.
what kind of plan does your dog have on the
I'm
phone?
surprised you can't hear her playing right now, because she's playing and she's got a squeak toy and she just barked. So, yeah.
Oh, cool. So you love the social media. You don't necessarily put a lot on yourself, but you
I don't.
you love to just interact with people, and I see
I
that.
do. I do. I love to see what everybody else is doing, because I live such a boring life that I'm like, I'll vicariously live my life through them.
How are you doing through this quarantine time, just being together? I know your family's with you, but how's that dealing with you personally?
My philosophy is let's stay home. I'm an introvert. I'm a homebody, so
Yeah.
I've loved it. The only thing I've gotten really anxious about is just not knowing when it's going to end. Like,
Yeah.
I love to stay home. I'm not doing anything different than I would be doing. But when somebody tells me I can't do something, that's when I rebel. And like going to restaurants, I guess I really love to go to restaurants, and
Yeah.
I really love to go shopping at TJ Maxx, and I can't do any of that. So that's when I get a little anxious, is when somebody tells me that I can't do those things, and I I feel like I've lost my freedom,
Yeah.
you know?
I have to know now a couple things from already. This
Okay.
is all unscripted, so welcome to fellow travelers,
I love it.
fellow wanderers. I have to know, what's the most rebellious thing you've done so far during the quarantine?
Okay, let me think. Because I am a rule follower too.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. But
Okay. What's the most rebellious thing you thought about doing?
that I've thought about doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've really, every day, and I am not kidding, Joseph, every single day, I have gotten on TJ Maxx's website to see when they were going to open. And so they actually open this Thursday.
You're
I guess
looking
I
for a
love
good
TJ
deal.
Maxx. It's my favorite place to go. But the most rebellious thing I've done, I don't think I've really done anything rebellious. Maybe gone into the grocery store without a mask at the very beginning,
Yeah.
but now I am wearing a mask. But that ticks me off too because it fogs up your glasses.
Off the top of your head, I want to go back to one of your original things you said was what's the highest level celebrity off the top of your head that maybe liked something you did or commented on something you would have done on social media?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Nick Lachey from
Yes.
98 Degrees. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I follow him and his wife on
Yes.
Instagram, and he did, he liked one of my comments to him. But you know, they have somebody that does their social
No,
media.
he doesn't. That was him doing it.
You think it was him?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell on myself and a little guilty pleasure of
That would be
mine.
like me saying, when you like my stuff, I'm thinking, well, it's probably just your grand dog that's doing it.
Right. Yeah, I
No.
have somebody that runs my social
No.
media.
If you don't have somebody running your social media, Nick Lachey definitely doesn't.
Nick Lachey, he liked it, and so I have a guilty pleasure that people. I mean, you say guilty pleasure where nobody's supposed to know about it, but I know people know that I watch The Bachelor. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And The Bachelorette. So I follow a few people on The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and they have actually commented back to me when I've commented. And like Melissa Rycroft, she was on Dancing with the Stars. She was on The Bachelor. And so I've commented, DM'd her and just commented on a story, and she's commented back. Becky Wade is a novelist. She's a novel writer.
Okay.
And so I comment a lot of stuff on hers, and she always comments back.
Says back.
Yeah. So that's fun.
Yes, that's awesome. So Cindy, you and your husband live in the Quad Cities, or it's at least internationally known as the Quad Cities because it's got a Quad Cities airport. Do you know the airport code for the Quad Cities?
It's weird.
Yeah,
it's a weird one.
I couldn't tell you it either, so don't worry about it.
I can't think of what it is, but
you know what I'll do? I'll put the Quad Cities.
It's like 20 minutes from our house.
Airport code. I'm going to put that in our show notes today, okay? Our episode notes, so everybody can fly.
Because everybody needs to know that, because everybody wants to fly into the Quad Cities.
So where is the Quad Cities in relation to life?
Okay, so the Quad Cities is, we live in Bettendorf, Iowa. Okay, so it's the Mississippi River is right here, and it's Bettendorf, Iowa, Davenport, Iowa, and across the river is Moline, Illinois, and Rock Island, Illinois. And so that's why they call it the Quad Cities.
There's four of them.
But there's actually more that are on the Mississippi
Cindy, tell us the rest of the story, because there is more cities there in that area.
There is.
Those four
Those are the biggest ones. I mean, the population for those four are like 500,000, something like that.
Well, over us at the old small town Wanderer Travel, we like to spotlight the small cities. So before we do that, what's one thing somebody should do in the Quad Cities? One of those four cities that maybe isn't on the map, if you will.
Okay, well, what people may not know about the Quad Cities is this is where John Deere was born. So Moline, Illinois is where the John Deere plant is. There's a John Deere museum. Yeah, so John Deere is huge in the Quad Cities. So, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Bix Beiderbecke. He was a jazz singer. They have jazz.
I've only heard of Nick Lachey so far of everybody.
I know, right? Bix He was a jazz musician. And so every year they have a Bix run of 7.5 miles they run. So they have that here in the Quad Cities. The American Pickers, okay? You know that show, The American
Yes.
Pickers? I went to school with those guys. I went to high school with those
Really?
guys. And they're,
Which one of them
they're,
did you date?
I didn't date them. They were younger than me. I didn't
Oh,
even know that they were,
they
that I
were
went
out of
to
your
school.
league.
Yeah,
Out of
right.
your league. Yeah.
Anyway, so in LeClaire, Iowa, that is where they have their shop. So
Well, how far is LeClaire from you?
LeClaire is right on the river.
Yeah.
It's beautiful area. They have really nice shops there and everything, but it's 10 minutes from me.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew it
And
was
so
close.
and we've got the Quad City River Bandits, which is an affiliate, I think, of the Houston Astros. They have the most beautiful, they were named the most beautiful single A ballpark in the country
Okay.
because it's right on the river. The Centennial Bridge from Davenport, Iowa to Rock Island, Illinois is in the backdrop, and it's beautiful down there. Yeah.
Okay, so before I get into your maybe some areas around there, because you're in Iowa, so basically everybody in the rest of the world thinks Iowa is a small town.
Yeah,
So,
they do. Right.
So everything you mentioned will be small in comparison. I'm going to ask you about some of your favorite little towns you'd like to wander around in. Okay, so you already mentioned LeClaire. Maybe some
Yes,
other ones.
LeClaire would be a good one.
But before we get into that, we'll get into something even more serious, and that is you are a diehard baseball fan.
Yes.
I think we're going to talk baseball pretty much every episode. And
Okay, good.
Talk to me about your baseball love obsession, and I will say it's an obsession.
Okay. So I grew up, my dad and my mom were huge sports fans. Okay. Yeah. So even when I was a little girl, we wouldn't know anybody playing, and we would go to little league games.
Oh,
because
wow.
they just loved baseball. And so and they loved the Chicago Cubs because that's only 2.5 hours from here.
Mm-hmm.
So we would take vacations and go to Cubs games, like to Pittsburgh, to Cincinnati. We'd go to Chicago, Wrigley a lot, and see the Cubs play. So it started when I was a little girl, just the love of sports. And Dan, my husband Dan's very happy about that because he was a Cubs fan too. And so now we're all obsessed, our whole family.
You are. And,
and we're so sad because of the COVID that has stopped.
Also.
Because that was like our livelihood. Like that would take us away from the problems of the world. Just sit down and watch. It's America's pastime.
Yeah, it's. I would say. I think you would say it also. Baseball was kind of my splurge, if you will. And this times, like I just want to get away. I want to do something that I don't need to do, but I get to, and you spend money on it.
Joy.
You enjoy it. Yeah. What is your favorite city? Maybe you've mentioned a few, but I don't know if you've been to other ones that you've maybe seen the Cubs in.
Okay, so
not Chicago.
Right. We just took a trip with our son Josh last year for his birthday, which is in January, a year ago. He said, all I want to do is go to Pittsburgh, to Riverfront Stadium. I don't think it's called that. It's something, PNC Park in Pittsburgh now. He said that's what he wanted to do for his birthday. So it was in August, we drove to Pittsburgh and went to 2 games. And it was beautiful because it's right on the river too.
Yeah.
And it's right where Kyle Schwarber had hit his longest home run.
Out into the river?
Into the river.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was really fun. We've been there. We've been to Cincinnati, which is beautiful because it's on the river too. We've been to Cincinnati. I've never been to Busch Stadium, but Dan and Josh have, and they've been to Milwaukee to see the Cubs play.
Yeah.
I've never been to Milwaukee. So those are
any cool things you saw in Pittsburgh when you were there, like besides the game?
Well, we walked from our hotel across the bridge to get to the ballpark. It was like a 2-mile walk, and it's just beautiful there. Yeah, we went to a really good place that they specialized in, like they had gourmet hot dogs.
Yeah.
We do weird things like that. We try to find not a chain.
Yeah.
We try to find a specific restaurant whenever we go anywhere that is to the place that we're at. So we checked around and they suggested that. We live.
Talk more about LeClaire. What do you like
Okay,
about
so
LeClaire?
LeClaire, Iowa is awesome because they have what is called every year in August. I don't know if they'll be able to do it this year because of everything going on, but they have the Mississippi River. This is the only place where the Mississippi River runs east and west.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's north and south. But because of the bend in the river, so they have what is called
Just around the river bend.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Pocahontas.
Yeah. That's where she grew up, right?
Well, they have what's called a tug fest.
Yes.
And they do a tug of war from Rapid City, Illinois
I
to
like where this is going.
Iowa.
No
Okay.
way.
Yeah, they have a festival and they have different teams that they have it on a pulley and they have a rope in the middle of it and they do a tug fest. And I think the last few years Illinois has won, but it's a whole weekend. They have the best fireworks I've ever seen anywhere
Oh, wow.
in the country, seriously. And I've been to the Navy Pier in Chicago and seen them, but their firework display is great, but the Tug Fest is really cool in LeClaire, Illinois, and that's where the American Pickers is too. So it's a great place. It's a beautiful place. We have a river walk. You know, I love coffee. There's tons of coffee places, and there's one that I love called Milltown Coffee that's right on the Mississippi River in Moline, Illinois. The vibe is so great there. Yeah, and there's another one, 392 Cafe down in Davenport, that we love, and the people there are just amazing. So, I mean, there's a lot to do here.
And if you're listening with us, I'm going to try to put most of these in our notes here on my website. I'll make links for those. I will verify that they're real restaurants, not places that you're just making up.
Nope.
So we'll put those in there with of course the Quad Cities Airport code.
Yes.
So Cindy, you said you are a self-professed homebody and kind of an introvert.
I am.
Even though you love the social and getting out.
Only so much.
How do you when you get away from this norm? Where do you like to go to actually have vacation or get away with your husband?
Yeah, we love the beach. Florida, we would take vacations there almost every year with our kids to Panama City Beach, Florida, or we then ended up going to Clearwater and St. Pete's area. We'd get a condo just right on the beach, and we'd ask our kids. I mean, our kids have never been to Disney World, and so they say our childhood was robbed, but anytime we'd ask them, do you want to go to Disney World or do you want to go to the beach? They always said the beach.
Yeah.
So that's where we love to go. We've been to Mexico. We went on a cruise to the, I think it was the U.S. Virgin Islands. So in the Caribbean.
I know you've been to maybe one or two all-inclusives or different things down there. Would you pick a cruise or an all-inclusive?
All-inclusive, hands down. Yeah.
Why is that?
Because with a cruise, you're limited. You have to get off at a certain spot. You only have sometimes because they have to get moving.
Yeah.
If you get off like at 9, you have to be back at 2. And so that cuts up your day so much that all-inclusive, you can just wake up, go to the pool, go to the beach. And we like an all-inclusive right on the beach too, where we can walk to the beach. But definitely, hands down, all-inclusive, that would be my
We love the all-inclusives over at Small Town Wanderer.
Yeah, our favorite resort that we ever went to was in Playa del Carmen. So I think it was the Royal Porto. I don't think it's called that anymore.
Probably not. They all get their names changed.
Yeah, but it was like 2 blocks away from just the nightlife in this walkway. I can't remember the name of it, like Fifth Avenue or something.
Fifth Avenue, yep. And then I think Fifth and Fourth Avenue. And they're actually, just read something this last week, they're actually redoing that whole area.
Are they really?
Really spruce it up and really make it a little more modern, but keep some of the old world charm.
Yeah, well, we stayed for our 25th wedding anniversary. We stayed at that all-inclusive, and every night we'd eat because it was, you paid for the all-inclusive. We'd eat at the all-inclusive, but then just go walk the strip.
Yeah.
We loved it.
what's on your wish list for travel? What do you got in the future? What are you hoping
Well,
to do?
yeah,
What's like a
you
bucket
know,
list?
last year we had a wedding. Our daughter got married. And so that was like our beach vacation that year, just
Hmm.
because of flying to California. She got married in California. So that was our vacation. So we would, and Dan and I did take a week. Was it last year? No, it wasn't because of the wedding, but we
You know,
just went to
if you had a good travel agent, they would be able to tell you when and where you went and all the names you went, and they could
right.
regurgitate a report for that. Just saying. That's
Okay.
what a good that's what a
I'll
good
keep that in mind.
that's what a good
But
travel
yeah,
agent
we
does
love
for
to
you.
go to the beach. We love the beach. So we're looking possibly to go in August if we are allowed and we
Yeah.
can. Probably Panama City Beach is where we'll go because we can drive there from here.
I know I sent your husband some quotes months and months ago for Panama City. And then
Mhm.
obviously the world, went upside down. It'd be
Yes.
interesting to see what the prices are now. I haven't looked those up.
Yeah, he looked a few weeks ago when we were, yeah, it seemed like it was about the same, really, since they're opening up.
Tell that husband of yours he needs to talk to his travel agent.
I will. I'll do that.
Um, he's also independent though, which is the way I when I'm working in with people that travel, so part I actually do like about it is when people that like to actually get engaged, not just say, hey, just tell me where to go. I love people that do a little research and
Well, we're kind of divas when it
yeah,
comes to
yeah,
travel because we know what we want, we know what we don't want, we know what we like. Like if I were to go to a condo, I don't want to go and be on the 18th floor.
yeah.
Okay, I would feel so claustrophobic that if I go, I want it to be like a mom and pop, maybe 4 or 5 floors. We have a
Hmm.
balcony that faces the beach that we can go out and hear and see the beach, and then the pool right below us. So
Yeah.
we kind of are divas when it comes to
No,
traveling.
no, I mean, that's part of it is you have to know what you like. 'Cause
Yeah,
travel, it costs a lot of money and you don't want to go and get something halfway. So even if you spend an extra couple $100 to get something you want, it's way better
right.
than.
It is.
And
It is.
so it's just it's a discretionary fund that we use, and God gives us these resources and we want to steward them well, but yet you know you want to get what you want, and
Right.
because it's a week of your life
Yeah.
and you're going to go back to your real life, and so yeah, to get to know
My
that
famous line that I always say all the time is you get what you pay for.
offer. Yeah.
You
So
know?
any other crazy like bucket list travel stuff you've ever dreamed about doing?
Well, Dan really wants to go on a cruise
Mhm.
over in Greece. That would
Oh,
be, like
don't even get me going on that.
I know. And you see, I don't like long flights, and
Yeah.
he's adventurous. I'm cautious. And so I don't like long flights over the ocean. I'm kind of a scaredy cat when
Yeah.
it comes to that. And being overseas in a foreign country, I don't know. I just don't feel as safe. And that's just my own phobias.
Yeah, but once
So,
you've been to Santeria or some Mykonos and the Greek islands, you're like, oh, this is just an amazing.
I know that's what his bucket list would
Yeah,
probably be.
and
And he really
I,
wants to do that.
I'd
So,
always say to people, if you're going to do a cruise in the North Baltic where you can get to Oslo and Stockholm and Tallinn
right.
and St. Petersburg. Like you're getting
Mhm.
to all these different cultures all at once.
And the smaller cruise
Yeah,
ships,
and you
right?
get to pop around, you get to see them, you get to experience it, or in the Mediterranean, like
Right.
a Barcelona to Rome to Greece
Yes,
to these islands. Like I just get
that's
to
what
taste
he would
them,
love.
and then I get to decide which one I want to go back to. But yeah, cruise Europe, all inclusive. The Caribbean is my
Yep. That would be his bucket list. My bucket list would just be, I'm real simple. I love Florida.
Mhm.
Florida beaches are beautiful.
Well, anything else you want to share with us? Any
I
fellow wanderers out there?
Well, I live with two fellow wanderers. Becca just wants to travel the world, and Dan is right with her, and me and my son are a little more cautious. So um, we're happy in the United States. Isn't that crazy?
No, I mean there's so many amazing things here in our own country, and I think we're gonna
Right.
in this next year definitely. I think we're gonna unearth them. because people still want to travel, but it's just, again, just for restrictions and things, they're going to go more local. They're going to drive.
Right.
They're going to see what's around them, and I think you're going to find a lot of these really cool little alcoves of community and culture, and little shops and little restaurants that could rival a lot of places in the world.
I
And
agree.
they're within an hour of your house. So
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
awesome.
I remember when Becca went to college in California, and she said she was from Iowa or the Midwest, and they're like, there are people there. They asked the question, yeah, like the Quad City area, people wouldn't know. They think we live in a cornfield. I mean, I tasseled corn when I was in junior high, but we have everything you would ever need here in maybe not a Cheesecake Factory, which I love, but we have everything.
The Quad Cities is an amazing, even from a motorcycle perspective. I've been mapping out potentially going from like Minneapolis down to the Quad Cities, just following the Mississippi River.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
And just some really cool things along the way. Well, thank you, Cindy Mundt from the Quad Cities.
Well, it's been an honor to be on your podcast.
Episode 2.
Yes. Fellow Wanderers.
We'll put all of your social media stuff in our notes, and for the the millions of people that follow me will probably want to follow you.
Oh, right.
And
I'm a private, so they'd have to send a request.
Yes,
so.
I think if you haven't figured out that you're private in your sociality, then you haven't been listening this podcast.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you. And
it's so good to talk to you.
Yes, so good to talk to you. And we'll sign off and have an awesome day and a fellow wandering around.
Hey, whoa, that was super fun with Cindy Mundt. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed recording it with her. We had a lot of fun together. Please, if you need anything in the travel biz right now, it's super scary maybe a little bit for some of you to get out and go. There's a lot of things local you can do. If we can help you in any way, book a hotel, get some trips. I know Cancun's opening up and the Caribbean's going to start to open up, and cruises are opening up in the fall, and lots of trips. Tour trips is maybe the way to go here in the future, with maybe like a Globus tours or an Avalon riverboat cruise. These are amazing companies that will definitely take care of you and treat you well and put you in some amazing spots. So we'd love to talk to you about that. Any one of our people over at smalltownwanderer.com, get a hold of us, and we'd love to see you out and about. So whatever you do, make sure you have fun wandering all around the world.